starting with the elderly wolf uncle. Chapter 148. Chen. Nick. The more nervous Fury became, the calmer he became, and then frowned and said coldly, "I'm sorry for everything I did before." Quote, "But there can only be one higher race in the world, and if you exceed this number, everything will fall into a war with each other." He slowly pulled out the gun on his waist. Throughout history, in this world of the jungle, only truly powerful races can survive, even by the most despicable means. However, phew. His voice just fell. He only felt that a flower in front of him, a stream of air with endless turbulent wind, slammed on his face. Meanwhile, the hand, which has always been as white as jade, with clear knuckles and slender knuckles, has already pinched Nick Fury's neck. Chen. Nick Fury let go of the gun in his hand, grabbed Chen Tian's arm with both hands, and barely spoke. He looked at the young man in front of him, his eyes full of cold meaning with a red luster. I only felt a strong sense of room breath filling the chest. Let go, then. Follow Nick. The xianxia agent behind Fury, although nervous when he saw this, still reacted quickly and pulled out his gun and pointed it at Chen Tian. Then he drank low. Step on step one by one at the same time. On the other side of the passage waited to meet Nick. Fury's xianxia agent also rushed towards this side after hearing Chen Tian's movement into the passage. Give up resistance, or we'll shoot. These agents meet Nick Chen. After the scene where Fury pinched, he also raised the gun without hesitation. Quiet. Chen Tian, who was pointed at by more than a dozen guns, did not turn his head, and he did not even shake the expression in his eyes for half a minute. With his current strength, there is no need to take these people seriously. Hum and one as he spoke. Invisible spiritual fluctuations spread out along the air. Next second, the soldiers on both sides of the passage, who were originally excited, immediately quieted down. Then, he straightened up and put back all the guns in his hand. Chen Tian glanced at these people, and then spoke. Go ahead, Professor Charles, take it out and arrange it to an absolutely safe place. You all go and guard him. The voice fell. Without saying a word, the xianxia agents who had received mind control all moved in unison and trotted towards Professor Charles's location. You. Nick. Fury looked at this scene, and the fear and despair in his heart, which had been suppressed by his life, surged up uncontrollably again. In an instant, he felt that his whole body was submerged, and every corner was extremely cold. Nick. Fury knew that according to the combat power of xianxia present, he could not handle Chen Tian at all. And now, he is also controlled by the other party. Nothing else. Nick Fury feels that today's self is already fierce. Thinking of this, he directly gave up all resistance, let Chen Tian pinch his neck, and slowly raised his eyes. Nick Fury calmly met Chen Tian's gaze. But his gaze slowly changed from endless tension to calm. I can feel that you seem to have a lot of emotions in your heart. Chen Tian looked at the other party and slowly spoke in a cold voice, but in these emotions, there is fear, but not for me, but for death. Quote, there are regrets, but still not for me, but regrets that I should have been prepared in the first place. Saying this, he shook his head disdainfully and smiled. Nick Fury, you're really dead. Quote, it seems that you guy has never felt that dealing with me and having no problem with the mutants behind me is nothing. The words fell. Nick on the opposite side. Fury sneered and raised his eyebrows. Look, I can't even hide my mind in front of you. That's why you exist like this. I don't think I should stay in the world. Otherwise, sooner or later, the world will be destroyed at the hands of mutants. When Chen Tian heard his words, his face became more and more gloomy, but you should also see clearly by now who is the most powerful race on Earth. And until then, you never knew it. Wait until you finish these words, do not hurry. It was Nick who responded to Chen Tian. Fury laughed disdainfully. Although this guy's neck was now pinched by Chen Tian, he still laughed extremely reluctantly. Strongest? Nick. The corners of Fury's mouth slowly hooked. I admit, if it's just about the ability to hurt others, you mutants are much stronger than ordinary people. Quote. However, you beings, like children with nuclear weapons in your hands, may bring danger to the world at any time. Saying this, the smile at the corner of his mouth became stronger. As far as I know, even without our hands, mutants are almost extinct. You. Nick. Fury's eyes were already bloodshot because of some lack of oxygen, but he still looked Chen Mengting up and down with ease. You seem to be the last naturally born mutants on Earth, right? When he said this, his words stopped abruptly. However, what is not said is also obvious. That is, since you say that mutants are the most powerful race on the entire planet, how come now, no new natural mutants have been born? Isn't this a sign that mutants are eliminated by this world? Good. Yours is the hardest. The expression on Chen Tian's face became more and more ugly, and he also knew Nick Fury, this guy, is a completely extreme guy. The exchange of words is completely meaningless. If this is the case, then in action, smash his soul and then wipe out his whole person. Rumble. The next moment, Chen Tian took Nick directly. Fury directly crashed through the ceiling and the deep underground soil, and constantly accelerated and leaped into the depths of fear. Chen Tian, no matter what you do, you can't shake my faith. Nick Fury felt the weightlessness when telling the flight, but suddenly laughed loudly. You wait. Chen Tian glanced at the other party coldly. The next moment, phew. He suddenly accelerated, and his entire figure turned into an afterimage that was indistinguishable to ordinary people's naked eyes above the sky, bursting out with terrifying speed. The figure kept moving forward, breaking through the sound barrier one after another. A sharp and piercing sonic boom sounded constantly generated from the sky, spreading out and falling to the ears of everyone on the ground. Phew, Chen Tian, useless. Ha ha. Nick. Fury felt the speed that had never been achieved in his life, and laughed loudly. He felt that Chen Tian at this moment was already angry and corrupted. But since the mutants once launched a crisis that could threaten the entire world, Nick. Fury was unwilling to trust mutants. Phew. And when he shouted those few words, Chen Tian had already taken him across countless distances from New York to Huadu. The rapid flight all the way, in the sky, created one after another terrifying sound explosions. At the same time, it also brought countless strong winds, bringing together the thick dark clouds in the sky that were about to disperse again. In the clouds on the dome of the rumbling day, a thick thunder once again split out, shining the entire city below into white. Meanwhile, the fierce wind that had just stopped began to howl again. Huadu nay, people who have already returned to calm and can restore stability. Chapter 1 Previous Chapter 148 180